Howdy heck and hey my dudes, how are y'all doing? Good? Good, I'm great. Let's get on with today's video. So today I'm doing something a little bit different from my usual content, and instead of kind of a topic video about a situation that I've been through or something that I want to talk about in terms of the art community, I wanted to do a story time. And I don't remember what triggered this story time, but I remember it's been on my mind for weeks, and I realized that I never actually shared it on this channel. Now, if you'll remember from a previous video, I am, or was, what would be considered an epic gamer. Not really, I just like to occasionally play video games, please don't attack me. Anyway, so this all revolves around a specific video game known as Super Smash Bros. Except Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the one for the Wii, at least I think that one was called Brawl, let's just go with that. So when I was about 10 years old, me and two of my cousins and my sister used to love Super Smash Bros. We used to play it all the time, except we didn't play it the way that most people do in terms of like actually fighting each other. We used this as a platform to act out fanfic. So my cousins and my sister and I came up with this whole overarching story where Samus was in love with Pit, but Snake was in love with Samus, and Samus was like, "It'll get away from me," and then Captain Falcon was like, "Samus, I'm also in love with you," and Mario and Peach got married and had a kid, and that kid was Ness, but then Peach and Mario divorced and Peach got with Sonic, and then Peach and Sonic had a kid, and that kid was Lucas, and just, it was very, very confusing. So anyway, we had the whole sort of main plot of the fanfic all laid out for us, and we would just enter a battle, pick the characters we needed, and act out that fanfic. We didn't know that you could change the duration of how long the battles went for, so our default scene duration, I guess you could say, was about 3 minutes, at least until we discovered the stock option. That really, really helped. We ended up with like 10-minute scenes sometimes. I still remember sitting on their couch, like on the character select screen, and we would just sit and talk about what just happened, where we wanted the story to go, and what needed to happen in the very next episode, I guess you could say, in order for it to happen. And then we would pick the characters according to what we needed, and we would continue on with the story. Now, at the time, 10-year-old me was obsessed with the concept of angels and demons, and to be honest, I still kind of am. I love the aesthetic of, like, angels and demons in art, and I really, really like exploring those, but that's besides the point. 10-year-old me was really, really obsessed with it, and Pit, as most of you know, is a very, very cute little angel boy, and so my 10-year-old heart went doki doki every time I saw him. My cousin, however, the other 10-year-old in the room, also happened to have her heart go doki doki whenever we saw Pit. And so whenever Pit needed to be in a scene, the two of us would fight over who got to play as him. One time she had won the argument and decided that she was going to be Pit for this scene, and I was really, really pissed off about it. Like, I really wanted to be Pit. I really wanted my cute little angel boy to be on my side this time. And so out of pure spite, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write another angel character into the story. And my two cousins were like, oh, what? You can't do that. And my sister was just kind of like sitting there. So there I am, scrolling through all of the Pit custom skins to find one that would fit our agenda, and I see him. The Pit with the dark robes, and I immediately fell in love. Back then, there was literally only one thing that I loved more than soft boys, and that was edgy boys. I was quickly head over heels for this mystery angel, and the concept of an evil angel was completely new to my 10-year-old brain. My cousins also happened to fall head over heels for him, and we quickly decided that we had to write him into the story as our own original character. We called him Dark Pit, which, yes, I know is extremely original, haha, but for a 10-year-old who had never had access to the internet before, we thought we were being really clever and really cunning, so please don't tease us. The backstory that we came up with for him was basically that Bowser and Ganondorf had grown tired of always being defeated by, like, the main heroes, like Pit, Samus, Mario, Sonic, Peach, and all of that. So Ganon used his magic to create a lake, which we called the Mirror Pool, and Pit would happen to stumble upon the Mirror Pool, and once he looked into it, the Mirror Pool would begin to, like, suck out all of his negative energy, manifesting it into a physical form that would end up fighting alongside Ganon and Bowser. And I actually ended up taking this concept and using it for my own original story, Noble Blood, with the same thing for Jimmy and Kuro. He's like gets his negative energy sucked out of the mirror pool and stuff like that. Which is why I'm all for children making fanfics and writing stories, even if they're cringy at the time, because you never know when you're going to create something that you really like and you end up using later on. So anyway, we had fallen so deeply in love with Dark Pit that he quickly became the main antagonist of the story. His power outmatched Bowser and Ganondorf combined. He was smart, he was cunning, he was sarcastic, he cared for nobody other than himself. He was one of my favorite kinds of characters to write. Even to this day, I love writing asshole characters like our Dark Pit was. My cousins and I had created Dark Pit from the ground up, all on our own. We didn't have too much influence, although even if we did have influence, I can't remember what it was. It was mostly probably Shadow the Hedgehog, I don't know. But he was our baby. We created him. It was something that belonged to us, and we really, really liked it. Fast forward 2 years to 2012. Our fanfic has quickly become akin to one of those shows that's clearly run out of ideas, but the industry just won't let it die, and so they keep producing new episodes. That's like the best way I can explain it. We didn't really know where we were going with this point. We actually ended up making a third angel. I forget his name, but he was the one in the gold robes, and he was the commander of time, I believe. While we're still going on with our fanfic, I hear on the grapevine that a new Nintendo game for Kid Icarus had come out called Kid Icarus Uprising, and as someone who had never played a Kid Icarus game but fell in love with Pit through Smash Brothers, I was super excited. I didn't have a 3DS, so I couldn't play it for myself at the time, but I found a fuck ton of Let's Plays, and I would just sit there and watch my precious little angel boy. I was so excited. Like, I had never seen Pit in action before, and I couldn't wait for all the new content that the game would give me. That is until, well, if you've played the game or seen Let's Plays of the game, you already know where I'm going with this. Nintendo stole my baby! Yes, you heard it right here, folks. Nintendo is the stealer of ideas and stole from a group of 10-year-old children who just wanted to have an original Dark Pit character. Now, at the time, I didn't really know how to feel about this. On one hand, our precious baby boy was now officially canon. On the other hand, he was introduced in an extremely similar way. The only difference being that we used a magical lake called the Mirror Pool, and Nintendo had used a literal mirror. I told my cousin about it, and she didn't really know how to feel either, and it really didn't help the situation that the official Dark Pit's personality was extremely similar, though obviously a more kid-friendly version than our one because we were really edgy back then. Anyway, over time, my frustration kind of fizzled out because now I had been on the internet for quite some time and I knew that Dark Pit as a name wasn't the most creative, and like I said earlier, the whole doppelganger gimmick in general isn't an original idea. To be honest, I'm not even sure why Nintendo went with such a cliche idea like this, but at the same time, I'm really grateful they did because I, along with many others, love Dark Pit as a character. But still, even if he is now an official Nintendo character, and I wouldn't have even had rights to him to begin with if he wasn't, I still very much consider him to be my son. Very similar to how I see Caden from Forget-Me-Not as my son, or any of the characters from Noble Blood to be my children. So yeah, the moral of the story is don't talk about your story ideas or plot points or characters or just anything in front of any Nintendo console because they will steal it and you won't get any credit for it. I'm joking, obviously this isn't a clap at Nintendo, they can do whatever they want, I never had the rights to the character and so on and so forth. I'm not trying to start a war with Nintendo over an emo angel boy. I just wanted to share this story because I was looking back on it a few days ago and it really resonated with me and it just made me all warm and fuzzy, and it's one of my favorite stories to tell new people when I meet them. That and, hey, if dry Bowser exists, that means there has to be a wet Bowser. Chloe, if you're watching this, I'm so incredibly sorry that that's how I introduced myself to you. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you sneezed in the video at all, bless you. Stay warm, stay cozy, stay toasty, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!